my name is Kaisa from Wreath by Kaisa, and I'm going to show you how to make one of these super cute Easter wreaths with an Easter bunny and some eggs sitting in the middle, using my wreath kit that I have got on sale on Etsy. So first of all, let's have a look at your willow wreath base. So one of these sides is always going to look nicer. So the side that is nicer is your front, and the side that doesn't look as nice is your back side. So in this one, this side looks nicer, so this is going to be working as my base. And as you can see, the willow wreath bases are never perfectly round, they're always a little bit wonky, but because this is an Easter egg wreath, I actually really like that this has got a little bit of an egg shape to it already. So I'm going to make this the bottom for my wreath and this one the top, because I actually think that that looks super cute. So we're going to start off like just grabbing your bunny. So I've already got my hot glue is ready there, hot glue gun, and I've got my bunny, and I'm just basically measuring just to see which one is the midway point. So if you stand your wreath like this, put your bunny there in the middle and just sort of have a look to see, first of all, where does he sit nicely so that the bottom is pretty flat, but also so that your wreath looks good. So I reckon this bunny, this is now pretty much in the center. So what I'm going to do, just because we want to get this centered, we want to make it look as nice as possible. So you've got your leaves here. Just take one leaf. Let me put it here so you can see what I'm doing. So just take one leaf, and I've just got an old chopping board that I use for this. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue onto the stem of the leaf, and then I'm going to be sticking this underneath approximately to where the bunny will be sitting. So I've got one leaf here, and then I'm thinking this is now going to be his bottom. So now I can move the bunny away, because now I've sort of got a good focal point. I know actually that's where my first leaf is. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to rip this one out and just go pulling. So that's a bit shorter. I'm going to do the same thing again. So we're going to just put a little bit of glue, and if you twirl your glue gun around, you won't get them little flakes of glue. And we're going to stick this onto so that it overlaps the first leaf just a little bit, and it sits there in the middle. Okay, and I'm going to show you what I've done before I carry on even more. So that stem leaf there, and let's add one last leaf in the middle. And then I can pretty much lay this flat, so then it's easier for you to see as well what I'm doing, and I'll keep showing you on a regular basis what I've done. So a little bit glue here once again, and as you can see, I've just put the glue there onto that little middle bit. I'm pressing it down, and just please be careful with the glue gun, because the hot glue burns like no tomorrow. So please be super careful. So we've got our focal point now. This is now like a little nest made for the bunny. So what you can do, you can either stick the bunny on straight away, but I think I would be inclined just to leave it for a little bit, focus on getting everything rest of the filled, and then you can sort of figure it out. But it's also ceramic, you don't want to accidentally damage it. So we've got the leaves attached. There's some 2 extra leaves in case you need them later on, so I'm just going to leave them there. What we're going to do next, we are going to be putting some Easter eggs on both sides. So you should have in your kit, you should have 6 Easter eggs that are not in the baskets. So you want to think this is now your middle. You want to put an egg here and an egg here and an egg there. So we're going to put a little bit of glue onto this side of the egg. And let's stick it here. I think this is going to be a perfect space. And obviously when it comes to wreath making, it doesn't have to look perfect. You are doing something that's going to be homemade. So don't try and think that it has to be the exact replica of what you've seen, the finished wreath looking. That's the whole idea, is that you can create something and it's supposed to be fun for you. So don't stress too much about if everything doesn't go onto its perfect place. It's not the end of the world. So the best thing that I recommend is that you just do one bit at a time on both sides. So we've done an egg here. So let's now go to the other side, and we're going to put an egg onto the opposite side, onto here. And the best thing is that if you just, oops, sorry, look, I've buggered up already. The best thing is that if you just keep moving along from one side to another, and then constantly keep lifting up the wreath so that you're ultimately looking at it like it's standing upright, then you'll basically be seeing the way it also hangs on your door. And that's then going to give you like a good visual feedback onto how it's looking. So we've now done egg on both sides. Let's then do, I'm going to do another egg. So next to the egg that we've already attached. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little bit of glue here onto the wreath base and a little bit of egg onto the side of the egg that I've already attached. And then I'm just pressing down. So I'm attaching the egg to the wreath base, but I'm also attaching it next to the other egg as well, so that they're then sitting nicely together. Okay, and these eggs don't actually take that long. Now that is now one egg there. Let's then go to the other side. And as you can see, I'm sort of always placing items there first, seeing how it feels and fits, then doing the glue. This way you have got better chances of not then doing something wrong and then panicking and thinking, oh no, now it doesn't look great. So I'm gonna just do it this way. And take away that bit of glue, just wipe it off. But again, mind your fingers. And you can see I'm pressing it down here. And we're then gonna do a third egg so that both sides have got 3 small eggs. Normally when I do this wreath, I start it from the sides, but the difference is that I have got quite a lot of materials here at home, so I can just keep on adding, I can just keep on adding to it if I need to. But with wreath kits, you want to make sure that you've got the perfect amount of materials at home, and if you do end up then in a situation where you run out, then obviously you wouldn't be able to complete it. So that's why I find that this is probably the easiest way to do this, just to make sure that you get a really nice end result. Okay, so that egg, that's now got 3 eggs on that side. Let's do the last egg. And again, as you can see, I am pretty liberal with the colors. I'm not trying to repeat the same colors on both sides, because again, to me that takes away from doing something unique. If it looks too repetitive, it looks like you're trying a bit too hard. So just mix and match the colors. Don't try and repeat the same colors on both sides, and just otherwise it does tend to look a little bit I don't know what's the right word. I don't like it that way. But if you have got tendencies to want everything to be exactly the same on both sides, then obviously feel free to do whatever you fancy. Okay, so we've got the 3 eggs here now. So those are now attached. Let's then do our cream color peonies. So you see that you have got a little stem there. So you're going to put your glue here around and onto the stem. But again, before you go and start adding glue, just gently push the flower onto the wreath and have a look and just find out where do you want it to be, because it can go higher, it can go lower, it can go pretty much wherever you want it to go. It doesn't matter, but if you push it in first, find the perfect space for it, then find the perfect space for the other peony on the other side, and this way you are then keeping up with the equal sides. Okay, so I found a perfect one for that on that side. This one does not want to go anywhere, it just keeps falling off, but I've sort of got the space here. Oh, sorry, haven't had my lunch yet. So I'm just gonna put this one here, because that is a perfect spot for that. Have a little drink while I hold on to this one. And then we're going to do the same on the peony on that side. We've then got the big eggs as well, but I'm going to show you, we're then going to start working on the foliage next, and then we will come back to the eggs. Look, I managed to stick it in so far in and wouldn't even come out. So I'm just do this swirling motion with the glue gun, so then you're not going to get these strings. And again, with these flowers, you're going to have to push them in quite a bit. It just takes a little while for the glue to set. But this is sort of the easiest way to do it. Otherwise, you're going to be, the flowers might not stick. And because these don't have that long stems either, it's easier to just keep pushing down on them. Okay, now that is that. It's sitting there nicely. So let's then grab the two stems of the pretty willow. You got some that are a bit shorter, some that are longer. So let's go for the two shorter stems. Again, I might not be finding the perfect places for these. I think I will just keep sticking these on, just because this is now probably the 5th or the 6th wreath of the same design I'm doing. But for you, again, find out the spots first before you add your glue, so that then you can make sure that it sits in perfectly. Okay, for me, I feel like I've done so many wreaths already that I can sort of just have a look at it and decide where I want them. Okay, so that is now the pussy willow, and again, just keep lifting it up, keep looking at it, keep making sure that your sides look pretty even. So we've done that. Then we're going to go for the eucalyptus stems. So let's put glue all across here over the stem, as you can see, and then we are going to be just pushing it in and put it proper in to the wreath. So don't worry if like little bits come off, sometimes they do, especially if you're pushing the stem in really far in. And then let's do this on this side as well. Let's do it here. And I've done now the same on both sides. Okay, so that is now, we've now got our eucalyptus sitting there. One stem of pussy willow is sort of slowly starting to take a little bit of shape, which is lovely. Next, let's do another stem of pussy willow, but this is going to be sitting higher, so, and because this is a bit longer. So if you find that it's difficult to push this in, you can just break off these bits, before you push it in. It just makes it a bit easier because sometimes they will get stuck. Let's have a look and just see. Do you know what, actually? I'm gonna go for these ones next, because I think this is actually going to look better. So you see straight away that I might have a plan in my head, and then but while I'm doing this and while I'm putting things on, then I might change my mind, which is totally normal and perfectly fine. So don't feel like you need to follow the exact layering of pussy willow and eucalyptus and then these little white flowers. You can start off with the white flowers if that's what you want. And what you can even do, you can even basically finish off your wreath, but without gluing it on. Just stick all the foliage on, stick everything on, then have a look and see what you think. And if it then needs any changes, then obviously then it's easy to keep doing them. Okay, let's do, I think I might do another one of these, then do the pussy willow. Yeah, so I get it a bit higher, and then I do the last stem of the white flowers. Okay. And this one goes here. And if I'm going too fast for you, then obviously feel free to pause the video, slow down. You don't need to be rushing, but I also equally don't want you to be having to watch me do this for the rest of the day. So it's a bit different when I'm trying to do a tutorial. I don't want to be taking too long on this because it's going to be a ridiculously long video. Okay, so this one, I want it to go there, and it's gone there beautifully. Good, good, good. And let's add this one. I'm going to take this one off straight away because I don't think it's going to otherwise fit there nicely. And let's find a good home for this one as well. I think he or she will don't want to go anywhere. So because these are artificial, if you feel like it gets stuck a bit, just bend it. So you can keep bending these and reshaping these. Don't be worried. I think if I stick it there, I think that looks good. It feels like it's sticking maybe a tiny bit too much. So where I plan to put it, I think I am going to go maybe a tiny bit lower, or to the other side. So it's slightly changing the position where I want it to go. Goodness me, this is giving me such a hard time now. I can't get it to go anywhere. So, as I said, sometimes this happens, and sometimes you think you found the perfect spot, but then when it comes to it, actually it isn't. So, I still think that's a tiny bit too high. So, let's have a look. I'm just going to take out some of these maybe these twigs out, so that I can just push it in there. So I'm just gonna find a little slot here. There you go. Make that a bit bigger. See, now I've run out of glue as well. It's all happening today. Okay, and now you are going in by hook or by crook. So I've made it a bigger hole in here, and I am just pushing it in. Just mind your fingers again when you're dealing with hot glue. There you go. It's finally gone in. Yay! It's gone in, but as you could see, I really struggled to get it in. Of course, this happens when I make a tutorial video, and then it's like everything. Like this never happens, and of course it happens when I'm doing a video. What I've done now, I've just added extra glue on top of it to make sure that it sticks perfectly, because the stem has twisted a tiny bit. But here you see straight away, even with someone who has done, pretty sure I've done at least 500 wreaths so far. Even for me, there is no such thing as like things happening perfectly. Even with me, still sometimes certain things go wrong. But I sort of think that that is the beauty of anything that's handmade and arts and crafts. That's the way it's supposed to be. If it was perfect, it would be manufactured at a factory and it wouldn't look as nice as it does. Okay, now I've got all the stems pushed in. Now you can really see that it's starting to take shape. So what we've got left the bunny and the basket. I'm gonna leave that for last. We've got daisy flowers, which sort of need to go quite high up on the wreath, but again, the reason why I'm planning to put them high up is so when you then start to do these flowers, try and think that the flowers are then coming to cover up some of the stems of the foliage so that then you can't see them. So for instance, if I put these here, you will see straight away that it's covering up these bits up here really, really nicely. Okay, so let's take, and this is now where I've actually pushed it, so it's now so wedged in, I can't take it out. So I'm just putting a little bit glue onto the stem, onto the cracks there. And then I'm gonna go on to my daffodil. And where I've now got some globs of glue that I don't like to see, I am now going to be pushing in my daffodil. And remember again, you have got, the stems are wired. So don't be afraid to move them around as and when you need to. You can twist them around. And that is absolutely fine. So that has now gone there. Then I'm looking, if I put the second one here, let me take this one off and I will show you this one really closely. So can you now see, you can see some globs of glue there. So you will always have little glue residues, especially if you're using like thick stemmed foliage. But as I said, the purpose of then of these flowers is so you put them to where you want to cover things up. So this one will go really nicely here. And remember when I said to you that we're going to leave one egg behind, and we're then going to figure out it after where we want it. This is sort of the reason, because now I'm looking here and I'm thinking actually this needs a little bit of coverage here. There's a little gap there, and I actually now think that this egg will sit here perfectly. But then equally, remember I said to you, you have got 2 extra leaves to use as and when. I've still got a little bit of glue residue and a little bit of stems that are poking out. And as much as you try and always cover them, sometimes you can't. So I've now put a little leaf there. And then I'm going to be putting this egg right next to it. And making sure that the peony has just got enough space there. Oh. And that is now, this side is done, and then we can go on to the other side and finish off that one. The eggs don't need as much pressing down as the flowers do. But then let's match this up now with the other side. So I think that's going to be the perfect bit, so that then we are really nice and even on this one. So that sits there nicely. Then we've got the 2 daffodils, the same thing again. So we've been doing this equally on both sides, but like this side looks much neater than the other side. I think the other side where you had them glue showing was because of, you know, that one stem that I really couldn't push in, and it was really hard to put in. I think that's probably where the glue residue came from, because it was giving me a bit of a hard time. So we're gonna do the same thing again here, and now the flower has gone in like that, so I'm gonna twist it. I'm gonna twist the frame, or the metal stem, the wired stem, and look how much nicer it now sits there. And it's the same for these ones. And it's going to be just turned so that they're sort of facing upright rather than being squashed. And yeah, that's perfect. Cool. So we are almost there. So we've now got one egg that hasn't found a home yet. I reckon I'm going to put it there, to that empty gap there. So this one will actually look really nice here, and then it matches the other side as well. So let's put in this egg here onto the little gap, and then we're gonna attach the bunny and the basket, and then your wreath should pretty much be finished. I always try and do my wreath kits easier, so this is sort of an easier version of the wreath that I've done in the past. We're just working with easier materials, swap some things around just so that it is just a bit simpler to put together. Okay, I think that's that egg done. Okay, so this is what this looks like now. So pretty, isn't it? I absolutely just love the colors of Easter and all the eggs as well. So what I think now I'm looking at this, and I sort of think actually the front part, I want a leaf to sort of go there and come across maybe a little bit more. Let me see how that looks. Yeah, I think I want to do that first. So I'm going to tear this one off again. Remember, I gave you them extra leaves, and they are yours to use if you need them. If you don't need them, don't worry. Now let's put this leaf here first. Oops. See, this is why I said don't put the ceramic bunny on straight away, because I smashed it. Okay, so I'm pressing these leaves down a little bit as well, just so that they slope down a bit more, so that it looks a bit more like a nest. So I've got the spot here where the bunny needs to sit. Now, when you put the bunny on, what I'm going to do, I am going to be holding on to this with one hand, putting some glue onto the bunny's bottom, and then just stick him on and hold on to it. And then the basket you can just add wherever you want to. And I will have included some extra bits of leaves for this one as well. So if you feel like you want to make the nest bigger, or you feel like there's certain bits on the wreath that you can still see some floral wire. Actually, I haven't shown you that trick. I need to show it once I've got this one attached. Just because everything's sort of slotted in so nicely. But before I do the basket, I'm just going to show you. So what can sometimes happen is you stick something on, and then rather it going upright, it goes to the side and it doesn't sit nicely. What you can then do is take the stem, take a tiny bit of floral wire, and then just attach the floral wire onto the wreath so that you go around, so that you then get stem and you push it through your wreath, the floral wire, and that way you can then change the direction on where everything is going. But in this case we didn't need to do that. But if you did need to change the direction of anything, such as if everything is sticking too much to the side, bit of floral wire and just attach it to the wreath base so that then it's got a nice direction to it. So last one, I don't know which side I want the basket on. Again, a lot of this varies as well on where you've got a nice and flat surface for the basket. So if you've got somewhere where it doesn't stick nicely, then there's no point of putting it there, is there? So here I've got the perfect spot for him, for it. So let's stick this one here. And then our wreath is pretty much finished. In your wreath kit as well, you have got a ribbon to hang your wreath from, so feel free to use the ribbon to hang it on. Don't forget to leave a review on my Etsy shop, and please post a picture of your finished wreath, because I would love to see how it has turned out. So we are finished here now. This is the end result. Looks super cute. When you hang it, just thinking wherever you loop the ribbon, you can then loop it around so that it's nice and straight. But we've kept a really good eye on it anyway to make sure that the sides are even. If you find that something is sticking higher on the other side than the other, you can just grab normal kitchen scissors and just trim some of these stems down and just make them a bit shorter so that then they are not sticking up. So I really hope that you liked making the Easter wreath. As I said, please post a picture onto your Etsy review. Any questions, don't hesitate to send me a message. I'm more than happy to help out. Thank you. Bye.